lost to the Celtics, their first loss of the season at home.
I mean, I thought the guys were great down the end. Joel was just significant in all regards to help us pull that off. I mean, they're a great team, and they're especially tough here at home. Great home crowd, and it's always a difficult place to win.
What do you think it was about Joel that allowed him to rise to the occasion tonight?
I think all the stuff that he has been through recently, to me, the way he handled it personally, I'm proud of him. He handled it like an adult. He handled it with a humility and owned some of it, and then came out and responded in a very dramatic way. And, you know, the numbers speak pretty much for themselves, but there was other stuff internally going on with like leadership and instruction to his teammates and stuff being said at halftime that flipped him over the top to, for me, one of his better games since he has been a Philadelphia 76er. He was dominant, and he was a leader.
What were some of the things he said at halftime to show the league?
Just basic stuff, you know, just reminding Keith like the importance of what the game plan is, and keeping people's mindset in a very proactive, aggressive place.
You've talked about a lot with him about turnovers this year. I think he only had 2. He had ball in his hands a lot. He's making a lot of really sharp decisions, waiting for double teams, hitting people. I mean, was that, among all the things he did, I imagine that must have stood out to you as a pretty
to me, that area that you're talking about was from a coaching standpoint, you're proud of what they did from a spacing, him reading those double teams, were they coming or not, the floor spots being occupied where he knew where his outlets were. He looked like a very poised, dominant player. And, you know, you go into him like we did, as much as we did, it generates offense, not only what you see he produced, but just the movement of the ball and getting other people's shots. We only learned, I did, 40 minutes before the game that Al Horford wasn't going to play. And I thought that Mike Scott jumped into that thing and that world that you're speaking of in a really significant way, helping us space the floor.
Brett, can you talk about the job Matisse did on Kemba in the fourth quarter?
I thought the three of them, I thought the three of them with Ben and Jay Rich and Matisse, like their ability to stalk, because if you go down through and you saw Jason didn't have the first half, didn't repeat the first half in the second half. And I think to your point, you know, the job that group did on Jason and Kemba, should be noted, and all of those three kind of did it the same way with that stalking length, and I think athleticism and sort of tenacity to pull it off.
What level do you think Tobias is playing at right now?
Listen, we have preached, I have encouraged from day second that I want you to score. You know, I want you to score. I want you to think like a scorer, act like a scorer. It's you have a skill set and a package that is capable of that. I'm not asking him to do something that's out of his wheelhouse, and we're trying to grow him. And so whether it's a post-up, whether it's a three, whether it's getting to the line, whether it's a little pull-up, 18-footer, you know, I put him in pick and rolls. And I think for me, I'm always reminded that you know, he's 26 years old. He's not young. His better days are ahead of him. And I think that he's in a really good place. And he certainly is important all over the place to what we're trying to achieve.
Brett, what went in the decision to start Mike Scott tonight?
And we had choices. That's sort of the flexibility that the group that Elton has put together affords me. Like, you could have gone, you know, with Matisse and slid Tobias up at the 4. I just felt like this building is aggressive. I knew that, you know, they really hadn't lost on this court. I believe the Celtics have 5-6 days off after this. It's a really bizarre part of any NBA fixture I've looked at since I've been doing this. And so you could see, like, there's real light at the end of the tunnel. They get this win, they got some time off, they get Marcus healthy, and I just felt like the spirit of which we needed to combat, given our history in this building, needed more of an adult. And Mike Scott, if he is anything, is that. And, you know, he provided the physicality and he made shots.
Coach Josh tonight, I mean, he was really huge in the second half. You always talk about him being that connector, being that guy to kind of be the glue. How do you feel like he did that in the second half tonight?
I thought he was just, you know, jumped back into this team in a significant way. His first game back a few days ago, you could tell he hadn't played in a long time. And he just is so different to anybody else we have. He really is, like, for all the reasons that I've repeated. And so he is a dot connector, a bridge builder. He brings us all together. He was great tonight. And both sides of the ball, we would have struggled, I think, without him.
You guys have been shooting the ball from three pretty well now for like almost a month. What do you attribute that to when you look at the larger sample size?
I think mostly spacing. I think that, we talk so much about spacing in early offense, let Ben conquer the middle. We talk about spacing. Joe's got the ball at the post, where are you going to be? We talk about spacing and pick and rolls, random pick and rolls, where are you going to be? And so they occupy those floor spots lately quite well. And I think with that space, and you get into the fundamentals of footwork and receiving balls and delivering passes where shooters don't have to reach. And, if you're not on point in the playoffs, 6 inches above or below, the guy's not getting his shot off. And so the pieces connect. I think the spacing is the thing that brings it all together. And I hope it breeds confidence to let these guys continue to shoot the ball in the environments that I just said.
What have you seen out of the Mike Scott, Joel pairing, even before tonight? It seems like they've been playing well with each other.
Good job, James. Yes, sir. I just think that there's a respect. Like Joe respects Mike's tenacity. He's a veteran. Mike can step out of it and shoot it, or post up Joel. I put those two guys in actions that enable one to pop, one to roll. And how do you play out of that? And I think they do a really good job of that. And I think in general, there's just a real fondness that this team has in general for Mike Scott, because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's just a tremendous physical teammate that plays the style of play we want to play.